Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Tonight is another night of Kansas. Vampire Court Edition.
It's exciting today. It's super exciting today. It's the fantastic meeting of the Primogen at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in a nice private room, as only the Primogen can have, because they've been gathered together for one fantastic event. This fantastic event is sponsored by, well, demons. Lots and lots of demons. The Primogen would have been given a primer from the prince, who will not be here tonight. Basically, that the Assamites, in a combined effort from both the Kansas City domain and the Topeka domain, had happened across mortals consorting with demons in, guess where? Say it all with me. Gage Park.
Gage Park.
Motherfucking Gage Park.
God damn it.
And it was duly reported, which shuffled that up the chain faster than greased lightning. So within 24 hours notice, word was sent back from Camarilla higher ups that an Archon is coming to town. I guess.
Freudian slip.
Yeah. I mean, Anarch's over in Manhattan. It's going to happen. So the Primogen have been gathered. So I will let the Primogen introduce themselves, and then we can move to our wonderful festivities.
And you can hear the bunny ears around the Primogen every time the word is mentioned. Some of the Primogen represent a clan of themselves. Like Bobby.
So I guess we'll start in order that I have here. So I guess first up, Sam, your character.
Oh, okay. Well, Bobby is looking quite grumptious. He has his neatly ironed polo shirt on. His very neatly ironed khakis. You could cut someone's throat with a crease in them. His shoes are polished. What was that?
That is the STC and students acting like, well, 5-year-old children.
It sounds like someone's getting murdered.
Yeah. Hopefully they are.
You clearly don't remember college, Sam. Moving on.
Yes. He is sitting straight backed in his chair. He showed up early, of course. And that's pretty much it. He is keenly aware that he is representing a clan consisting of himself, and that this is a sorry excuse for a Primogen Council.
Next up is Evan.
Okay. Alexei, equally as much as sitting straight back in his chair, he has his fingers steepled together in the finger-painted evil contemplation. He's dressed in a $10,000 suit, so obscenely expensive, with a fine silk handkerchief coming from his lapel pocket.
Oh, Tom Ford.
I know, right? Everything about him oozes calm, actually, at this moment in time. After all, when you're a Ventrue, if you break, well, needless to say, you shatter. So he is waiting. And next person.
That'll be Ash.
Okay. So Ash actually gets here a little bit on time. He was planning on showing up late, but then something happened. He took a shortcut in the sewers thinking he'd get lost, but instead he ended up early. Nos things, though. He'll walk in. Of course, he's got Ollie with him. And he'll bring Ollie to the appointed ghoul room or something or other like that, because apparently you can't take all your Louise. And he'll walk in. He looks the same as always. He smells maybe a little better. A little, maybe. He doesn't know. He can't smell anything. Still just wearing like a tank top. Not a tank top. Like, you know, just a t-shirt. His ratty tatty leather jacket. Some jeans that have very mysterious stains on them because the sewers. He'll walk in, pull out his laptop, start hacking away.
Joey, you're next.
Loeb will walk in. He will be wearing a very sharp pinstripe suit with a black undershirt and purple tie. He looks to be late 50s to mid 60s, somewhere like that age where you don't really ask, but you don't really care. And and he will take his seat at the table silently.
All right. Next up is our wonderful Gangrel.
Yeah. So, you know, Alfred didn't want to be late to this. You know, you don't want to make an icon wait for anything. So he's showing up, you know, 5 minutes early, which means he's on time. And, you know, he's checking in guns, knives, a grenade. He's just checking in all this stuff at the front desk before showing his hands and then walking in. He's in that kind of, you know, dark pinstripe suit with the silver thread. Very 1920s, like a gangster look. And he takes his hat off and sits it at the table that he's sitting at. And just kind of lounges in the chair. But anyone that looks at him sees that he's as pulled tight as a piano wire. And every now and then he just flexes his fingers. And he's just kind of sitting there waiting, as if, you know, what's about to happen could cause huge drama and or a fight.
I guess I'll handle Julia at the end, but last but not least, the Malkavian.
So Alpha would come in wearing a nice pair of blue jeans and a plain t-shirt with a nice metal necklace around his neck. You know, and just like in the picture, he doesn't look like he shaved this evening. So his red beard and facial hair and lovely red hair is, well, still there. And he'll, you know, even show the only thing that he's, you know, to the keep, the only thing that he's got in his pockets is wallet and cell phone before going to go take his place at the table.
All right. Let me go back to the right screen here. There we go. As for Julia's character, Miss Sullivan will take her spot in the back of the room professionally, and it's more of a she's here but not here, so that's that handled. Last, but definitely on time, will be Archon Walker, who will move to the front of the conference table that's been laid out for the Primogen and sit down with his portfolio.
Did you just say Archon?
Archon Walter. Niklaus Walter. Yes.
Like,
no, not Anarch again. I actually got it right this time, so. Sat down at the front of the table with his portfolio, notebook kind of thing. Get ready to take over the meeting. Glad all of you could make it this evening. I believe that the Prince gave you the working information we have on the current situation as is. The Prince will not be here this evening because rather than having us all focus on one thing, we still have the other issue in the back of our minds. So he is going to be handling that one with the sheriff while I guess we come up with a suitable way to handle the situation that has just now made itself present. Is there anyone here who has any sort of experience with this sort of thing? Demons?
Commander Walker, it is absolutely a privilege to have you in our presence, and I will offer you a minor boon simply for humbling us with it and visiting our middle of nowhere domain.
Oh my god.
I appreciate
Quick question. Where is this person from?
Chris. It's actually, yeah. No, I'm sorry.
He is located towards, his primary region is located towards the western half of the United States, where he primarily gets to deal with the Cathayans in California. So he's been having to deal with Quaishan.
He's well established in Kansas City. It's one of his favorite stopover places, so it was very easy to get over here. It's like an hour drive.
In that case, Alexei will say, I very much doubt the Archon took the red eye in order to listen to us kiss his boots. We have business to attend to.
It's not ever without etiquette that you address an Archon. A minor boon is simply a matter of good manners. Something the Ventrue are well known for. And well respected for within the tower. I would hope they would not frown upon
Bobby raises his hand.
And the floor will be given to him.
I'm not an expert, nor am I Lord Master. I carried water for my sire and Archon Bell a couple times in these kind of matters.
He'll nod and kind of look around the room to see if there's anyone else that has.
Oh,
He has status 1, by the way. Like he actually is known for that. He was a minion
Yeah.
of the Brujas.
Alfred raises his hand.
And floor will be given to him.
So, the Gangrel passed down oral tradition about how to deal with these kind of things. But one of the stories that is always told is when there are demons in the city, prepare for 2 things. You need to prepare for first Sabbat showing up, and then Assamites, for they hate these things.
Well, we can already confirm both in this city.
John doesn't even like anything to that. He's just nodding like, yeah.
If I may ask, sorry, I'll put on the accent. If I may ask, we were merely told that there had been instances of demonic incursion in city. We would ask, if it is not too much trouble, Archon, what proof was presented for this? We've just been told it is fact.
The sheriff of this domain, along with the look up really quickly before I step my foot in my mouth, along with the Assamite Primogen of Kansas City, and I don't want to step my foot in what the title of the person is. So
Is it one of the scourges in one of these places also an Assamite?
No. First of all, I'm of the opinion you don't ever publicly say who the scourge is.
True.
And the Harpy of Kansas City. All 3 Assamites were assisting the sheriff in observing activities in Gage Park, as I am told that it is a hot button area for activities of an extra normal variety. and that they were witness while in hiding to mortals consorting with a demon named. I'll be going through notes of what's obviously in his portfolio is like handwritten accounts for the individuals, and he'll. Why do I Lucas? What? No, Lucas was Cody. Thank you. And then he will actually take photocopies out and hand them to the Primogen of the accounts from all three of the Assamites in question. The Harpy's name is Franz Schultz. And then there's the sheriff's name, which I can't remember. And then the Assamite Primogen of Kansas City, Ian Lestrange. Let's see how many names Joey recognizes for 500, please. It basically give a detailed description that most of the information comes from the current sheriff of the domain, and that she was patrolling Gage Park. Yeah. That she came upon a group of mortals who were having a conversation at one of the pavilions. She didn't seem to take much note of it until they mentioned that it was a demon. It was from that point that she went about as best she could trying to confirm the issue. The individual under discussion, the demon in question, was apparently protecting another individual for which the people in the pavilion that were not the demon were very concerned about. Blah, 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 blah. I don't have the scene in front of me, but basically your handwritten statement of roughly what happened.
So we can kind of watch the scene now with certain characters.
Does she reference, important question, does she reference, obviously she referenced the demon by name, does she reference if they spoke anyone else's name, aka in their talking amongst themselves?
Yes, I was in that scene.
Do you remember who else's name was mentioned?
They name dropped Eric. Not Eric. Was it Eric's? No, what's Caleb? Caleb's name. They name dropped
Caleb
that.
Stone.
Yeah, Caleb Stone.
Some
of them
But I
called
don't
him
know.
Caleb. Some of them called him Mr. Stone. 2 and 2, Caleb Stone.
They were real good at hiding themselves.
I know this name, he will say, tapping it with a single finger as he taps the name. Mr. Stone. He will contemplate for a moment before looking up from the piece of paper after he's read it and say, that they are involved in this, I'm not exactly surprised. But then again, I do believe the Nosferatu have a more detailed account of these individuals.
At that point, the Archon will turn to Ash and with a curious look.
Ash is gonna look at Vasily, and he's just gonna do finger guns or whatever. He's gonna look over at your guy and do finger guns, and then look back and say, "Yeah, I learned a bit about the Caleb guy. Apparently, he was born in Ottawa, here in Kansas. He had no listed father on his birth certificate. Married to some chick, but apparently she disappeared, and then his son died." Ooh. Ex-Army combat engineer, discharged because he's crazy. Sorry, mental health issues. Following the death of his entire squad by an IED under fire, blah, 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 blah. Currently employed at the Infinite Improbability Drive. Fucking throwback to Hitchhikers of the Galaxy right there. Jezebel's disappearance, his wife, by the way, happened same time as the death of Caleb's son. Apparently, his wife, a little cuckoo, killed their son as she was chasing after her lover, who was described as a smartly dressed pale man. Which sounds like
Oh dear. This.
Go on.
Yeah.
that's all I have on Caleb. For the most
Gee.
part. I could look up some more
That's a
stuff
lot.
if you want.
That's impressive.
Well, thank you. When
Do
someone
we
gets on my
know who
nerves, I
these
like-
other individuals, these associates of his, are?
I know a couple of them. Yes, I've seen them around. There's a rather frankly annoying woman by the name of Elizabeth St. Martin. It's a fake name. I looked it up, couldn't find anything on it. And then there's a Cassie Nightingale. Also looked that name up, nothing on it. I hate when people give me fake names. It's quite annoying.
What was the second name out of character? Because I'm having to.
Cassie Nightingale. And then there was a Sky Olmsted, apparently one of those kind of like rich kids who go around doing whatever the fuck they want. There's also Zach Norton, who's also employed at the Infinite. I hate the fucking thing. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy throwback.
Alexi will just speak up there. He'll say, the Olmsteds made their fortune when I examined them in some kind of spa and natural beauty treatment parlors. Fairly well-to-do and well-connected. The fact that their son is Harry Potter wannabe, probably not public knowledge to them, but c'est la vie. You never know with these old money families.
What do you mean Harry Potter wannabe?
He's talking about mages.
Actually, they're not completely mages, because I've had a talk with them before. I don't know, they called me in the sewers. It was quite annoying. I wanted to eat them all, but they are not sorcerers. Apparently they're like miniature, or they're not mages. They're kind of like tiny little ones.
So they're
Apparently,
sorcerers.
like edge mages, sorcerers, that sort of shit. They ain't all that tough.
Out of character, how does everyone have the lores to know the difference between mages and sorcerers,
I do.
other than the Archon?
We don't. Kim actually had a conversation with them where she asked, "What's the difference?"
Like,
Oh,
dude, there
okay.
were like 2 or 3 scenes. Like when he said they were miniature, like little mini mages. That's because they never outrightly said like sorcerers and shit. They were like, "Oh, I'm like a hedge mage. Like I don't
Someone
turn
needs
to
to
bed
write
again.
down these
I'm fine."
memories.
I mean, most of them didn't outright say we're sorcerers. They're like, we're not mages, but we're definitely not mortals. I mean,
Yeah,
how
which
do
is
you
why-
classify it?
Which is why Ash said mini mages,
Mhm.
like just tiny baby mage.
I would put a note not to necessarily underestimate their abilities.
Testing. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Question.
Yes.
Since it seems that there are contacts with that community of other things that go bump in the night, do we know if they're planning on doing anything about it?
That is a great question indeed. Because the only information I have is what has already been provided. So if we have contact for these individuals, it'd probably be best to start contacting them.
Ash will kind of raise his hand and say, I guess I'll do that later then, because I have all their names and numbers. And then he'll kind of write some stuff down on a piece of paper, walk over and hand it to the Archon. Basically, it's all the information, what little that is, on Sky, Zach. He's also going to write down what he got on Caleb. And then, of course, Cassie and Elizabeth's names.
Another question.
And I assume contact information for the individuals that he does have contact information for.
Yeah.
Which would
There's
be all of them?
All of them. Actually, yeah, all of them, I think, except for Cassie.
Other question. Besides the obvious masquerade breach issue, what about what do they know about us?
As far as I know, if you will look at the statement given by Mr. Schultz, all he did was use a burner number to text them to stay out of the city if they're going to be conducting business like this in a rather threatening manner, and they seem to take it very seriously and have not been seen around town as of recent.
Well, that seems reasonable.
Sean, technically, Ian's statement would state that he notified 2 people that he had contact with in that area.
Yeah, okay. That's
about
also important,
as
I
well.
guess. Go ahead and give that information so I can write it down.
Yeah. So Ian's report would have stated that he contacted 2 individuals within the community, within that community, about the incident having happened, and for them basically not to be bringing their stuff here. And action will happen if they continue to persist.
Leaning back in his chair, Alexei will tap his chin with his index finger and will say, realistically, if these individuals are having their truck with demons, now, I'm not so much for dealing with the magical and the metaphysical elements of this. I honestly don't understand it. All I know is that
which Ian's report would also underline the fact that the 2 individual contacts, he would underline a word, awakened, which probably is going to be circled in at least the Archon's notes.
It's a pretty fair point.
As I was saying,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't understand the metaphysical ramifications of what it is they're doing. That is your job, my Lord Archon. However, all I know is that if the Sabbat get word of this, we'll have their fucking Inquisition down on us, like a mailed fist that will splinter this city into little pieces.
I'm also working on that too.
That brings up another thing, Archon, as he raises his hand. So there was this huge masquerade breach not too long ago. Do you think they were a part of it? Because there was giant something chasing something else that ran way too fast to be, how do you say, human?
I got video for that if y'all want to see it, what he's talking about.
That might be a good idea.
Wait, you have not destroyed a video of the masquerade breach?
I got it off of YouTube. The only copy that there is of this is on my very, very secure Nosferatu laptop.
Also, it is not masquerade breach, as we do not believe any kindred were involved. Not our responsibility.
It's always our responsibility if it brings hunters.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them break
Give me
into
1
my
second.
laptop. That's
I'm
all I
going
gotta
to be
say.
moving to a different area since someone's child apparently thinks that this is a fucking playground.
Okay.
If hunters become involved, then it is most definitely a masquerade breach. Because they're going to come for us. We're easy targets.
Yes.
We're much easier to bring down than werewolves. And they can report to their superiors that they got the job done.
Yeah.
Surely the clan of the Master of Mortals would know that.
Exactly. So I'm not exactly worried, but you seem to be.
Okay.
I have to agree with him. We don't want hunters just randomly, willy-nilly coming into the city.
No. However, being realistic, for a start, before we debate something, I believe that we should probably have a look at what happened.
Can we go back to the demon thing
This could
for a minute?
This could be part of, the demon thing. That's the thing. We need to figure out if this has to do with the demon thing, because something running way too fast and breaking masquerade, like, this could be demons.
Even if it weren't, we have a sitting Archon in front of us, and we want to debate whether or not something is a breach of the masquerade that would expose us to hunters? Are you absolutely insane?
Yeah.
You want to debate not our problem in front of someone who answers to one of the 7 graces of the Camarilla. If I were you, I would apologize to Archon Walter.
It always amuses me when people mispronounce Camarilla, for the record. But,
Vulgar.
nice.
Second,
You're getting on to me about semantics. I'm getting on to you about the masquerade. You are changing the subject. I find you vulgar.
Too vulgar to make that a warned.
Who's warned?
Me.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, I just...
Sorry that I'm not keeping up with this. I'm trying to find a less spot.
Yeah.
Should we wait?
take over
Should we? I was gonna say, should we realistically wait till Sean relocates so we can actually,
Chris, could you take over the NPC for me since your PC isn't?
Yeah, I can.
All right, thank you.
And as you're sanctioned for the war, you sit in silence for the remainder of this meeting. Afterwards, it shall be considered done.
Which Niklaus will speak up. I will make a modification of that sanction. You are allowed to talk if directly asked a question or given the permission to speak.
That's normally how warned works. Speak unless you can't speak unless spoken to.
To officers of the Camarilla, which is the whole room, which is why I said the entirety of the meeting.
Okay, so there is someone has been trafficking with demons. There is a demon physically walking around.
How vulnerable is a demon when walking around out in the world?
Oh, can I finish, please?
My apologies. A trivial boon and apology for interrupting.
Thank you. I think we need to. Okay. I would ask. First of all, can we set the scene so that any response to dealing with the demon situation has a reduced risk of breaching the masquerade further, whether by ourselves or by any other parties? Maybe like a movie is shooting here or something. Okay, with certain subjects. The next thing is, with respect to the demon, presumably was summoned. What's to stop whoever summoned it from summoning more? The third thing is how are other parties besides us reacting? I mean, the overly hairy, homicidal psychos that are werewolves. Presumably, they're going to come after this too. Out of character, I forget what the appropriate response, courtesy is for archons. It's not your excellency, is it? It's whatever your insert appropriate thing here.
Yeah, hold on, I'll get you that because we should probably all be using it.
Yeah. So those are my three. Those are my three points or questions. I remember the last time I dealt with it, and again, I want to stress I was not in any sort of leadership or guiding role. I merely supplied some muscle and carrying water. The thing was a challenge even for my venerable sire and for Archon Bell. And they had read up on the subject beforehand. And they first had to eliminate the individual who had summoned the demon. He looks finished. Thank you in advance for your consideration in addressing these.
As far as I can find, proper term for that we should be using is sir or madam in front of his name. So it'd be Sir Walter.
Sir Walter.
On the bright side, we're getting a lovely tour of the university campus.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
I didn't cut out, did I, before?
No.
Nope.
No.
Aha, score, an outlet. In the conference room, maybe.
I mean, in theory, you're having an important video conference with an international clientele. Yeah.
I'm just going to set out here because that looks like it has to be reserved. I don't want to get in trouble for that.
All right, keep going, Chris, with the NPC because I'm still getting situated.
So, it sounds like we are revolving around the same conclusion to this.
I think. Maybe, yeah.
We, by we, I do mean you, all of you, are going to be needing to keep your eye out to track and find this individual. And anyone connected. Keep tabs. I doubt any of you have any knowledge of how to remotely handle this. Keep your head down. Get the information. Find him. Let me know immediately. Not when you get around to it. Not in an hour or so or after you lose sight. Then.
It will be done, and you may inform His Grace that this city will not fall. At least not on Clan Vermeer's watch.
Yes, Sir
So-
Walter.
So, Sean, would you like to tell them which areas that they're supposed to be looking out at?
Well,
While they're being
obviously,
assigned?
Guys,
obviously,
to get to. I'm sorry.
yeah, no
I
problem.
will rejoin you. Loeb will sit sulking for the rest of the scene. If Walter ever tries to get into his head, please let me know. I will relent and
I don't think we'll do that.
PM me. Whatever.
When you're free in the evening, Joey, we might try and do a clan meeting. It really depends on when Tim is free, but
We will definitely do a clan meeting.
Alright.
At some point.
all right, cool. Catch you
All
later,
right.
Joey.
Thank you so much. And apologies for the vulgar. It's not an out of character vulgar. Love you all. Goodbye.
Take care.
All right. Okay, so what all, I got most of that, but switching between the different Wi-Fi signals, just like a rough of what the players were going over and all that.
Bobby had 3 questions at what point / questions. One is that, are we going to do something to preemptively deal with the very possible masquerade breach in dealing with this, i.e., say if there's a movie shoot going on or something? Second point was, what do we know about other supernatural groups doing about this? Werewolves. For example, because presumably they might be coming after him too, and because they like killing things in general. And 3, is there anything like, couldn't this guy just summon, whoever summoned it, summon more?
Okay. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear all those questions myself either. So, what was the first one again?
The first one was,
What's being done about the possible masquerade breach that's going on with the demon, I assume?
yes, in dealing with the demon, that there is likely to be
Mm-hmm.
a high potential for masquerade breaches. Should we perhaps do something in advance of that to lower the risk?
A key point probably to bring up is what influences you have around the mortals in this city, and see what plausible excuse that we can have to protect the masquerade. That really depends on the kindred that are here in the city and what power that they have to influence. The story should be tailored to what we can influence the best.
I will say this, if this whole thing doesn't work out, I know the last time there was a masquerade breach, which I'm about to show you guys the video for that anyway. The last time this happened, myself and insert Harpy's name here was able to throw up enough influence and, hacking into YouTube and deleting videos. We were able to cover it up pretty swiftly. So, as a little cushion, there are those 2 factors.
I would note that if I remember what the good heartbeat for this domain had said is that she was also given a little bit of assist on the 4th, if I recall.
Yes.
Hopefully we won't have to resort to blowing up buildings.
I do hope so. As for what we know about the other supernaturals, I have spoken with them, and I have learned about these fairies, changelings, whatever, that are in the city. Well, not this city, but they're around Kansas, around here, and with the mini mages.
At the risk of sounding dreadfully stereotypical, does the Gangrel have anything to offer about the missing supernatural group in this discussion?
If you will give me a bit of time, I will get you that information.
They are the one I'm most worried about because from what I've heard, Usually when they deal with a problem, it's very loud, it's very bloody, and it tends to draw attention.
Yeah.
And then Ash will hook his laptop up to the projector and play the clips that he's, of course, deleted off of YouTube and just has saved to his hard drive on the projector, which is just, the fucking wolf running through the park chasing this other dude. Of course, it's hard to see because it's a fucking blur, but yeah, he'll play those videos.
Alfred just points, can you slow it down any? So we get a better chance at looking at face?
Yeah. What about the other questions Bobby raised?
So we got the first and the second one. What was the third one then?
The third one was, what's the possibility of this person summoning another demon, whoever summoned it? And should we maybe eliminate them first?
Out of character, the person that might know the most about that isn't here. So the Tremere is probably the only one that knows a lot. Or can know a lot.
Or the Tremere Archon.
Yeah.
Wait, where does Sean just go?
I was going to say, the Archon is Tremere, you know?
Yes. There's Sean. Yes. So he's looking at the Archon. What's the possibility of this person, whoever summoned the demon, summoning more?
That information I can't be for certain of. We would need more information on this individual. I believe Caleb Stone, you said. That's the one that the demon said that he was protecting. I would think that you would need to discern who this individual is, figure out if this protection was, well, we don't even know if he's the one doing the summoning. It could have been easily placed on him by another person. So really, at the heart of this matter is the sorcerers then. We need to figure out what they're up to and what's going on here before we can get to the root of the issue and pull the weed out of the ground.
And one more question for now, Sir Walter, if you'd be so kind. For the sake of clarity here, we should not take any sort of violent intercession with any of the other supernatural groups unless our own lives are in danger. Correct?
If at most possible. The last thing we need is when we are trying to root out a demon to make new enemies.
Exactly.
The demon is the first priority, and the priority after that, if you can, the person who brought this demon here, as in summoned it, not currently possessing. Because they could be an individual of their own merit. We don't know.
So, and with respect to the demons, Sir Walter, observe and report, take no action, just spot it and call.
Yes, we have members of my clan that will be able to handle it. Report, follow, and wait for the members of my clan to arrive to handle the situation. They are the most well-equipped for dealing with this demon.
Sir Walter, if I might make a quick suggestion, considering the topic that just came up at hand about not starting fights with any of the other supernaturals in the vicinity.
Of course.
I would ask that Primogen, Alexis, and Drova not be allowed to deal with them at all in any capacity, because the other day, when word of your arrival came to the city, he wanted to go out, take the mini mages, and quote unquote drag them before you.
Bobby just looks at the Von True Primogen.
I guess I will give you a chance to respond to such matters. Then he'll give the floor to Alexi.
Evan?
But sorry, I'm making tea. But
Ash just
made a pretty big accusation.
Threw you
and
under the bus and damaged your
and
reputation for the.
and
This
the
wasn't the fucking scene. Like y'all can go back and look at the scene.
and
Straight
the
up.
Oh no, I
Archon is
believe you, and that was beautiful, by the way, Kim. That was
Oh,
that
thank
was
you.
what I expect from Vampire. This is
and
what
the
I expect from
Archon's
Primogen.
basically
Oh,
asking for Alexi's side of the encounter.
Which encounter was this? Sorry.
When you
The,
wanted to find all these sorcerers and drag them before the Archon.
Duh. I wanted to bring them to face your good justice. Seemed like a good idea.
Oh my god, Bobby he actually face palms.
He says, well, do forgive, but if you're opening portals to hell on a semi-regular basis, it seems to me like good to nip in the bud.
The problem with that, though, is that you then have, if you attack the miniature mages, then you have the possibility, the very real possibility, of angering the mages. Which would then
Possibly.
cause what
However,
the Archon
I
was-
would leave assertion to...
I am talking. Stop interrupting me. Thank you.
Sir, out of character, just so I understand these MBT rules, would that incur another vulgar, which would upgrade to a
If
or
any
sorry,
one
a-
of us decides that this is in fact vulgar, then it would.
Technically, the only thing that changes the warn status is breaking the ban. And if that was considered breaking the ban by the Harpy, he can either offer a minor boon, isn't it, Chris? And basically say that, and then it's considered water on the bridge, or it gets upgraded to a...
vulgar?
No, not from a vulgar. Vulgar's the lowest level because vulgar warned disgraced,
Yeah.
and then
And then Forsaken.
yeah.
Which Forsaken means that you, as far as
It's your
the,
blood hunted. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah. Forsaken is you don't have blood in your system. They've never heard of you.
Disgraced is kind of. I'd have to relook it up, but it's pretty rough. So if Joey's not here, and he's the one who got the warrant dropped, so that'd be for the Harpy to decide, I guess, at a later point if interrupting Ash would be considered.
By the way, I didn't so much interrupt him as I couldn't hear Kim and...
Okay,
As in, it was actually a computer it was computer, not me actually talking over them.
no problem. So where were we?
Kim was speaking.
Okay.
I lost my fucking train of thought.
You were going on a discussion about incurring the wrath
Little mages
of...
would bring big mages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So he will go on to say, clearing his throat and giving a very. You know what? He's not even going to look at Ventru at this point, because Ash is like 5 steps away from declaring that bitch vulgar too. He will go on to say, the Archon and everyone else in this room is worried about starting fights with the other supernatural communities as we are trying to deal with a demon, dragging the baby mages before the Archon would no doubt anger the mages themselves, thus starting and incurring their wrath, which is why I suggested that Primogen Zandrova not be allowed to deal with any other supernaturals. At least not until this matter is over with, so his ideas do not start any unwanted fights.
Second.
This is a matter of this domain, and while I understand that it affects my objective here, I can sympathize with the talk, but at the same time, I understand the power of a full awakened mage. They have powers beyond my ability. That's a thought not to leave. You're too far from your mind. I'll leave it to the Primogen Council to decide with Ash, Shiz, and Mr. And Alexi's vote to be automatically abstained as there are the individuals within it.
Out of character, is he calling the question?
He's calling the previous question.
All right. Out of character, sorry, Evan, but Bobby's voting in favor of Ash.
Oh, if it helps, Alexi's voting in favor of Ash.
Okay.
Alfred,
I can still vote on it.
Alfred is
he
going to
put the
vote as well.
specific modifier that Ash and Alexi, since they're the two bringing it, are abstained from the.
Oh, in that case, he will encourage you to vote. He will encourage you to vote for it.
Alfred is going to vote on this as well. He's not abstaining, and he is agreeing with the Bruja Primogen. You'd like to second this now?
Those that aren't here, we're going to auto abstain them because I'm not going to dig around making PMs to get votes in the middle of the scene. So, Chris, your vote's kind of mute. We're 2-1, even if you went that way.
The current majority vote is to
exclude the Venture Primogen from interactions with supernaturals for the purposes of dealing with this demon issue.
Or no,
Yeah.
while this demon issue is being dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just for the purpose. That's
Okay.
too much of a loophole.
Okay. Then I assume you're going with the majority.
Clan Malkavian will abstain.
Abstain with 2 votes for and 3 abstentions. With 1 abstention and 2 absences. Jesus. The motion passes. Jeez. I wasn't expecting the Malkavians to abstain, but okay. Out of character. All right. So.
Well, it's because Alpha will abstain if what he wants is already going to happen anyways. Because
That's fair.
That's a very fair point.
Then I don't have to show my hand.
That's fair.
I have an out of character question.
Yes.
I have etiquette, so I would know how to ask this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Alfred wants to, I don't know how to ask for the commander title while this is going on, because Alfred wants to start really hunting like only a gangrel can, and if he pops claws, that's considered breaching etiquette.
You're wanting the defender status.
Oh yeah, defender, yeah.
Commander is one that you have to have an actual officer position for. The defender, I think, is the one you're looking for. I'm pretty sure, correct, Chris?
Correct. Defender allows you to even carry weapons into Elysium.
Either that or you're looking for, what is it? What's the one status that basically, so long as you're doing something for the Camarilla, you're excluded from breaking
Enforcer?
the traditions? No, that's not Enforcer. Well, Enforcer is another one that you need a actual status, like Sheriff gets Enforcer. Sheriffs, when they deputize people, they give them Defender, which is like mini Enforcer.
It's sanctioned.
Sanctioned, which only the Prince can give out.
So I need to talk to the Prince about that and not the Archon.
I believe
Because it
so.
requires sovereign.
Yep, not Commander, which Archon has.
But as a commander, he could give you defender. If I remember right.
These statuses are so fucking complicated.
It's more of who you have to ask.
Yeah, because there's the abiding status, which is attached to actual stations, and then there's the fleeting status, which is all the temporary status modifiers people can have.
Uh-huh.
So I have etiquette. So excuse me for speaking after he lowers his hand. If I'm going to begin hunting, questioning, and doing a whole bunch of things to stop this.
Quick correction.
Yes.
Commander doesn't give defender, it gives enforcer, the improved version.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Woo! Is
Is
there any limit to how many like enforcers you can hand out?
3?
Up to 3 in a single night. Without spending it. That's just passive.
So, excuse me, Sir Walter. I am going to be hunting and doing some very nasty things, and while doing this, I believe that I'm going to need some. What's the etiquette here? I'm asking for title, but how do I say this politely?
I don't think there's a polite way of saying.
I know. I need. I believe it's called the title enforcer to go about this business, because I may need to wander around armed, as well as wandering in places that may be forbidden to others to go in order to hunt and find this.
He thinks contemplatively, sitting on the side of the chair. Right at this point in time, we have seems to be lack of information. We don't know what these sorcerers are involved. We don't know what we need to do to prepare for a masquerade breach. We don't know what influences the city has in its possession. We don't know if other supernaturals are hunting this demon. We don't know if we have a demon summoner on our hands. I think it's very early to be hunting and acting. Right now, we're at a shortfall. We have a very large fog of war that needs to be minimized first before we start talking about actually hunting things. When the time comes, I would be more than happy to grant a party to deal with this demon. But until we can figure out if it's just one demon or multiple demons, or if we have a demon summoner on our hands, or if there's a thicker plot going on, then well. But I will keep that in mind.
Yes, sir, Walter. I will also be doing my best to make general contact with the furry things that run around in the city that are generally very angry and rage-like. With the ban on not speaking to the other supernaturals, could that be lifted in my case?
That is only the, well, actually, no, that he has said.
Yeah, he said that we're not supposed to talk to these other things.
The
No,
prince said that he suggested not interacting, but there's no actual edict from the prince saying you can't.
Yeah.
That's the changeling venue.
Okay.
Well, by the way, can I just actually ask a question, because I'm trying to read the station rules here. Can I award the stages to myself?
No.
Okay, so even if you've got the title to award stages, you can only award it to other people.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
There is one fleeting status, I believe, that allows you to share status with a status you have with a person around you, but you can't just give yourself status. Someone else has to give it to you.
Cool. Sorry, I was just wondering. Continue.
No problem.
Let me rephrase that then with that knowledge, because I thought it was just a blanket don't do this. The prince does not want us generally doing and talking to these things. I am loath to go against a prince's wants, because wants can easily become edicts. How should we go forward with that?
I'll speak with the prince on this matter. I think our first start should be with the easiest ones to contact and with the ones that had the lowest amount of trouble. I know personally from Mr. Hugh, your keeper, that he is personally warned against dealing with the fair folk, and that is a very wise assessment. But as far as mages, it's generally very, so long as you're playing on even terms and are speaking in a non-threatening manner, I don't see how you'd have much problem speaking with them. So I'm sure that will be, as far as getting some of this information about the demon, that could be remedied easily, especially since this seems to be centering around the individuals that Ash provided us with, as well as their contact information.
Ash will kind of raise his hand and then say, I will speak to the sorcerers as soon as this meeting is over with, or as soon as I can get a meeting with them. They seem to be decent with them. I don't know. There's one particular one I could talk to among a couple others. I will go out, ask, see what they know, and then report back to you as soon as I get that.
I think we can cut down this line of conversation much quicker if you feel that they would be uncomfortable with me being there. That's another thing. But if it is, you think reasonable that they would not find it a affront, I would much more rather be personally there.
If they have problems with you coming along, then that's their fault, because when I went to speak with them one day, just the miniature mages, they brought a fully fledged mage with them. So if they cannot deal with another member of my kind with them, then they can suck it up.
Very well. Hey, Chris. Oh, wait, no, before I do that. Well, I think that handles that. As far as the demon goes, which is my problem, I am, however, curious about some of the things that have been happening inside this domain. Mainly because, as you said, you've had masquerade issues before, not ones that are, of course, directly coming from this domain. I more want to hear what has happened, because from your perspective, all of your perspective, because maybe it is a sign of things to come. And I think that being on top of this with all of the facts on the table rather than behind it would be best.
Alfred's gonna raise his hand and just wait to be called on, like he's supposed to.
Yeah. He'll give the floor to him.
Yes, Sir Walter. I am known as a Sabbat hunter, and with the knowledge that I have and the time that I was spent in this unlife, because of these masquerade breaches, in my professional opinion, I believe that we will have Sabbat here more than just what we have seen or maybe heard rumblings of very soon. Demons tend to bring out lots of things that want to hunt them, and the Sabbat is one of the angriest that I know of personally.
Ash will raise his hand.
I'll give the floor to Ash.
Imogen Montebank, with your thing with the Sabbat, I am also beginning to work on this, and I ask that anything that I say afterwards in this room be kept under wraps entirely. If that is something agreeable, because I do not want this getting out. And he'll look around the room.
No, this is a private room. I'd say that's a fair expectation.
I have, with the prince's permission, of course, have begun to track down, and I will very soon begin infiltrating the Sabbat. Will be getting information on what they are doing firsthand very soon. I have tracked them down to where their main hub city is, and I will be going into either the Old Elysium there or into the sewers. Nosferatu and Tribu are, I wouldn't say we are on good terms, but it would not be a kill on sight. Plus, we all look the same. It's really hard to tell us apart. So, that is what I will be doing if they attack before I am able to infiltrate, then I am at a loss. But because I will be doing this very soon, I do not believe it will be too terrible.
Alexi will put up his hand and wait.
He'll give the floor to Alexi.
Alexi will say, as it stands currently, myself and my associates have fought off a number of Sabat Gould. I believe the term would be gangbangers. Essentially, what they're doing at the moment is in the north half side of town, they're probing us. They're seeing what they can get away with. So, Mr. Montebank's assessment, I believe, is indeed correct, that they will make a full-scale attack before long, once they have identified where it is they believe we are weakest. So, if Mr. Ash wishes to do his insertion into Sabet, I would recommend that it be sooner rather than later.
I did say I was going to do it soon, as in hopefully immediately after I speak with the sorcerers with Sir Walter.
Well, hopefully it's not too soon while we're already occupied with the matter of this demon.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Montebank, also, if you do happen to get a hold of the lupines on that front or any other, I know that they tend to be a bit hot-headed, but if you could send a message that they be more careful, it would be greatly appreciated, considering the video Mr. Ash gave us.
Of course, Sir Walter. I will do just that in polite tones and neat writing.
Writing is the key, putting distance between you and them.
Out of character, I have to go.
Okay.
Is there anything else we need to discuss here?
I don't think there's anything that's being discussed. There might be some wrap-up stuff, but it's not super important.
Would someone keep me posted afterwards?
Sure.
Sweet. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. All right. See you later.
All right. I think that's pretty much it. Is there any more matters that the Primogen Council wishes to discuss? I think I've given the information that I have so that you are up to speed on the matter and what is needed moving forward.
Alfred does raise his hand.
Mr. Montebank?
Would it be possible for the august body that is assembled here to perhaps meet weekly until this is finished? Because we need to be able to keep everyone apprised of everything. That way we don't step on each other's toes.
Communication is a good thing to have. I will leave that for the body to decide their meeting schedule. I obviously am going to be here for the foreseeable future, but I do have business that I have to keep in contact with. So if there is any new information that the Primogen Council gathers as far as this demon is concerned, I would assume that they would be able to inform me.
Other than that, Sir Walter, I have no other pressing news other than to state that I am working on gaining more influence with the police department or fire department, however you wish to say it, in the city. We need to be able to shut down the streets and roads, and that's going to take beat cops to do.
Mr. Montebank, if you need a weak cop to start worming your way into the city with, I know of a few. I have a couple spies in the police, so you might be able to start gaining your influence through them.
That would be much appreciated, and I will owe you... Oh, shit. Now I gotta look at bones.
That's usually considered, depends on how much that, what you guys see it. That sounds somewhere between a minor and a trivial.
He'll give over a minor boon because he doesn't see this as a trivial matter in this light.
And Mr. Montebank, I have in my service, or should I say my, what would correct? Employee is not the right word. Sphere of influence, a number of, shall we say, more corrupt and dissident police officers who could be easily blackmailed so that they will provide you with information or indeed influence over their juniors. After all, they're on the tape, as it were. I can provide you with a list of their names if you would find that valuable.
This is all going to be valuable because we're going to need to do something probably at some point with the police. And it is best that we leverage everything we can in order to get as many as we can on the payroll, as it were.
Well,
And
in that case, I will have a list of names furnished to you.
And I will owe you a minor boon for this is something that is going to affect greatly on the city.
Sean, with Underworld Influence 5, I assume that we know dirty cops. I assume we know the dirtiest cop.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have influence over them because that'd be police influence, but it would at least give him a place where he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, do we actually buy up backgrounds in this game, or do we like earn them and get them?
Most of it is role play, not like Blue Book role play, but like, you know, sit down time with me for a scene and kind of role play out getting them. There's some occasions where I might attach an XP value to it for balance reasons. The only one that does not doesn't require the story is influences, and in the mechanics system it explains that you buy the first dot with XP and after that you grow it, which means actually putting influence and spending downtime actions, and there is a system for that.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
I think it's 3 XP and then X number of points spent in increases it, and then so something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you can also, if you have the same influence, pool them all together to do a concerted action. Like, for instance, say if Alexei and Alfred both had police influence and they want to grow Ash's police influence, they can pool their influences together to grow hers faster.
Okay. I'm gonna need to ask you something, because Ash should have like another point of resources then with all the shit that he's been doing. I don't know. But then Ash will then say, I don't know if it helps, but we were talking about influences earlier. It's minor, but I have minor influence over street and underworld things. I am going to start working on transportation, though, because why not?
Transportation is a key one. Much like the police, we can lock down the city, shut down public transportation, as well as private, and keep things from spreading more rapidly than they normally would.
I will begin doing that, though. You know, and he'll just kind of point to his face and give a little goofy grin. It'll be a little hard, but I got this.
All right. Well, I think this matter is concluded then. Have a good evening.
Sean, while I have you here, I need, or
yeah.
like, are you about to leave?
I'm not about to leave. The scene isn't quite over. We're just wrapping up the Primogen meeting side of it, because there's one little bitty bit of plot left.
Okay. Because I need to talk with the sheriff after this.
Okay.
I was going to say that moment when you realize, shit, I haven't bought Fortitude yet.
So I assume everyone is kind of picking their stuff up and walking out of
the private room and heading to the court.
Before you handle that, Chris, because the meeting's over, that warned, because it had a special tag to it, is now expired for
Yep.
Alexi. Right. All right. So as everyone's shuffling out, Chris, you can take over from here.
Okay. Well, I'll assume everyone manages to walk their butt into the courtroom, and I assume the prince is at the head of the court.
Originally what I was planning on doing was having, like, you know, the court on the side for the people who weren't the Primogen Council while we were doing this, but the only people I got was the Primogen Council, so this is more or less just like them dispersing. There's no actual court here. The prince may be around to handle this bit of business, but there's no official court, as it were.
So, walking, well, right at the entranceway to Elysium, a man would appear literally out of nowhere. And I assume our nice keeper is at the entranceway of Elysium.
Yeah.
You know, where he would appear just outside the doorway right before he's actually stepped foot on Elysium. And then we'll take one step into Elysium.
Fair play.
As he does, it actually seems to get notably darker in the room.
OOC popping up Eyes of the Beast is not Elysium breaking, correct?
Oh, it's not that dark. It's like all the shadows in the room when he stepped in got darker.
It's like the lights dim a bit. Like the darker areas get darker, and because of that, the bright areas get brighter. It's kind of weird.
Oh no, even the bright areas got darker.
Okay.
Everything got darker.
Yeah. If it's not breaking any rules of Elysium, Alfred blinks his eyes and his eyes pop red.
I think
Using any discipline in Elysium is breaking Elysium.
With the exception of obfuscate for mask for
oh yeah, that's right.
Or those that are inhuman or things like that, they can use mask to hide things that would be masquerade breaching. But other than that, yeah, it is a violation of Elysium to use disciplines.
Which he will step in and look to the keeper. I am here for Elysium to speak to the prince. You may check me over for weapons.
Okay, I think he'll do his job, and then you may. That's a and
and so he will politely ask the keeper, "Who is the prince so I might talk to him?"
He would escort him slowly by the players towards the prince's office, and I assume we'll get some rubbernecking in about 5 seconds.
During Stalin's regime, they taught us something. It was quite simply this: learn when it was appropriate to note the fuck out.
Unless the players are going to be lurking on this, we're just going to assume he goes by and okay.
Damn right, Ash is gonna lurk. Like
so.
Nope. I would like to put out Alexi is totally going home.
Out of curiosity, Chris, it says utterly inhumane. What type of humanity are we talking here?
As in not on humanity.
Oh, okay. There, that's a good clarification.
Pipe off, bitch. Best path.
What the fuck is this cloaked in shadows thing?
It's a Dark Ages flaw. Literally, light dims around you, and if it was a candle light, the candles would actually go out.
It sounds like a Tenebration 3 for 1 for free.
Yeah.
Almost.
A little bit.
Except for you can never turn it off. Except for you can never turn it off.
I mean, given that candlelight is automatically extinguished, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as powerful as Obtenebration 1, but
Yeah.
and it's definitely masquerade preaching as fuck.
It's at least not as bad as the Harbinger of the Abyss flaw. It's 1 point shy of that. It's
What does the
almost as bad
Harbinger
as
of the
Harbinger
Abyss
of the
flaw
Abyss.
do?
Harbinger of the Abyss is like, what, 3 or 4, right, Chris?
Harbinger Abyss is 5.
What's it do?
Harbinger of the Abyss makes everything darker, and you automatically roll your Obtenebration to put out all fires around you, no matter how big they are.
I believe that's a merit, not a flaw, though.
No, that's a flaw.
That's a flaw because in Dark Ages, putting out fire like that was considered demonic. And
Not only that,
obviously,
in the Dark Ages, putting out fire like that meant you couldn't have any light.
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. So he will go to the prince's office where he's being escorted by the keeper.
And they'll open the door, announce open the door, and they'll go in to speak with the prince and shut the door behind them. And this is where we get to find out who here has Auspex.
Or
who.
Have
Can
acute
roll-
senses.
Yeah, cute senses.
All right. Hearing.
Nope, but that is
Yep.
my that's my perception specialty.
Okay.
On that note, guys, I'm actually going to go to bed, so I
Okay.
will talk to y'all later.
Later.
Sean, did you want to do Fiori-related changeling stuff at some point tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I have it slated for tomorrow afternoon. Well, my time.
Okay, cool. Give me a message or something when, you give me a few hours notice and just say, hey, we'll do this in X time.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.
Oh, shoot. Chris, can you actually finish this up? Because I've got to get this laptop back up there to check it. So,
Yeah, in like 45 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. So I got 3 successes. Ash got 2. We're listening. Listen, lurk.
Okay.
No, I
So-
got 3 successes. You got 2 successes.
I spent a willpower. I got 3. Oh, okay.
Wait, why are you saying I got 2 successes then?
Because I'm looking at a different roll. My bad.
I was
Yeah.
very confused.
So, both of y'all will overhear him talking to the prince. I am Sobek, child of Sutek. Me and my children are going to be in this area, and we humbly request your tolerance within your city. And the prince will grudgingly, grant the tolerance. And after that, Sobek will say, and have a pleasant evening. And walk out the door of the prince's office into Elysium. And he will look around.
As soon as Ash heard what's his face wanted, he started walking away because he's like, yeah, I can kind of guess
Yeah.
what the fuck's gonna happen after this. I ain't about to stay at the door and wait around. I
Nope.
heard that we got some followers of fucking Snake Boy over here wanting to come into the city. I'm gonna go now.
I'm gonna go find that sheriff that I need to speak to ASAP now.
Yeah, except for he has tolerance, which means he's allowed to be in the city.
Yeah, I know. It still doesn't stop me.
But did you hear who he said his sire was?
Yeah, I know. Alfred is not okay with this.
Yeah, and then he said, and his children. Not okay, not okay, run. And Sobek will then head out of Elysium, and as soon as he takes one step outside of the door, he'll vanish. Is anyone watching him to contest his vanishing?
I think we both just noped the fuck out,
You
so
know
there's
what?
no one.
No, Ash is that bitch. He's an angry man because he does not have that much integration yet. He's like,
Okay, let me pull up the rules for Vanish from the Mind's Eye. Because he has it. Be afraid. Be very afraid. He has vanished from the Mind's Eye. Oh god!
Huh? I guess he didn't. I guess he wasn't real. Maybe.
I mean, Ash will get that eventually. He's working on it. Need some more
Okay.
XP.
So, what is your wits alertness?
Oh, wits alertness? Oh, hold on.
For those who are watching, the highest wits alertness is the difficulty.
I didn't put that on that. I thought it was something new.
Let me check his dice pool. Stealth. Okay. Damn. Stealth is shitty. Okay, so what is the highest of y'all's wits plus alertness?
I got 5 for what's alert.
Same here.
Okay.
That difficulty 5, though.
Yep. He got 5 successes to vanish.
Oh shit. Holy fuck.
Which means... God dang it. Okay, so with 5 successes to vanish. That's enough to completely vanish. So, since y'all have been affected by Vanish because y'all are watching, y'all need to make a Wits plus Courage roll, difficulty 5.
Wits plus courage?
Yeah, that's what the book says.
What?
Yeah, I know, beats me.
That
Does
even
it-
fucking applied to like
Yeah.
fucking Nosferatu? Because we know that shit happens all the time. We do that shit.
I was about to say, like, I'm a city gangrel. I kind of know exactly what's going on here.
Well, the Wits plus Courage roll, difficulty 5, is whether or not your mind just goes, "What just happened?" It's basically for whether your mind keeps up with what just happened, or does your mind go, "Lark?"
And you said difficulty 5?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck yeah.
and you only need 1 success.
We've seen that shit before.
That's apparently why vampires are diff 5 and people who aren't used to obfuscate are diff 9.
I mean, shit, even then, because that means like Nosferatus who are just trying to be edgy as fuck could fuck with everybody in the. What?
I know, right? Just
Yeah,
keep
fucking-
rolling Vanish.
I got beef with that.
I know.
Fucking
It's,
bullshit.
okay, y'all are both completely fine and realize exactly what happened without going, "What?" for a second. dude just fucking stepped out the door, and as soon as he was off Elysium grounds, vanished.
I mean, yeah, because the bitch has obfuscate. Like, Ash ain't a fucking idiot.
Same with Alfred. Alfred's like, yeah, I can one day do that. Yeah.
Like, obfuscate is like a Nosferatu without obfuscate is a fucking dumbass. Now he's dead meat.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yep. Which, at that point, obviously, he's gone. And so, with that, if the players aren't going to be doing anything else in Elysium, which
Is the sheriff in Elysium? Because I've got to talk with him.
that would be ran by Sean.
Yeah, so
So,
Alfred's
So-
still going to be in Elysium, just waiting.
okay. Well, have a good afternoon or evening or whatever, everyone. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And have a great time. And remember, watch out for the snakes.